Hey everyone, my name is Danilo Petrovic.
I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Denis Kudla.
I'm Evgeny Donskoy.
I'm Henry Laaksonen.
I'm Peter Torebko, and you're listening to the Game to Love podcast.
Hey, welcome back, tennis fans. Yes, it is going to be Roland Garros, and the draw is out. We thought we'd just bring you this one off the cuff. JG messaged me, said, mate, jump on. Let's give a quick reaction to this draw and some of the interesting fixtures, mate. How you doing, all right?
Let's get stuck into it. Obviously, we're working, so we don't have much time, but we're going to do just a little impromptu podcast just to go through the instant draw. We'll be doing, I think tomorrow night, we'll be doing the draw preview on the tennis app, where we'll be going through everything to sort of work out who we're going to have winning, and you can enter that one as well. But for now, let's get straight into it. The big news: Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, Novak Djokovic, all on the same side of the draw. I don't know if it's ever happened before, but it's mental. Basically, one of the big three will not be. Well, no, sorry. So there will be someone who's in the final who's not the big three.
Yeah, exactly. It's opened it up on the other side, the Medvedev side, should we call it?
It's not the Medvedev. It's the Tsitsipas side for me.
Well, it is. That's the bizarre name which is sort of cropping up on that side, which we're not used to seeing, really. Medvedev is probably the side you want to be on. You don't want to be on the other side because that's where there's a lot of killers. And obviously Djokovic and Nadal, the two that you'd want to avoid. Well, we'll get into it, mate, shall we? I know that we are just going to do a quick run through. I know that we've both having a very busy days as it is, so we're going to try and fly through this as quick as we possibly can.
Just zoom out a second. Just want to show everyone the actual full draw first. Look, they've got a little picture Roland Garros announced with Rafa in the middle holding the trophy, and you can see the two sides. We've got the left-hand side, the right-hand side of the draw, and the left is where it's all going off at the moment, mate. It seems mental. Some of the players on there, it's a tough one to get out of. But if you look on the other side, there's still obviously, I think, coming from there, you're going to have the big battle between the next gen on who is going to be able to advance and they've got a massive opportunity on their hands. Everyone on that right-hand side, they don't have to play anyone in the big three and they can get to a Grand Slam final. And there's not many times in your career where you don't have to do that, especially not in recent years, where you don't have to play a big three player until the final to win a Grand Slam.
Mate, exactly. It's people are going to be rubbing their hands together like Tsitsipas. I think that's probably the key one that we want to speak about. Obviously, Dominic Thiem, he's not been in very good form recently. Will this now give him the drive that he needs to get through this draw? I think, mate, this couldn't be better for some players, but for some, it could be a lot better. So, well, as we can see, there's just a quick shout out to a few people in the chat as well. Great to have you all in here, actually. Everybody's been watching the draw. Thanks. We're not going to do too many singular shout outs, just a generic shout out to all the tennis fans out there. And we can just have a quick look at some of these routes. So
let's just split it into little sections. So let's start from the top left, which would be obviously Novak Djokovic.
Yeah, number one.
So in this little bit here, we'll go to his little section, which ends at... Can't see my eyes. Is it Musetti? David Goffin.
Goffin.
So from Novak to Goffin, let's be realistic. He's got a very comfortable first few rounds. And I think
bunch, isn't it?
It's to get to the quarterfinal, isn't it? So if you win these, you get to the quarters. And to be honest, I don't see a way Djokovic loses to any of them players. De Minaur, you can say, is a good player, but not really a clay quarter. Nishioka's playing well at the moment, but let's be realistic. None of these personally troubled Novak Djokovic. I know you're going to say Musetti, so I'll let you talk about him.
He's the only one that you think on his day might suddenly spring a surprise and potentially beat a load of these players. And that would be the matchup I think people would want to see. If you got to see Musetti Djokovic at some point in this French Open, mate, I think that's going to put bums on seats, that one. So I'll be excited. Hopefully we get to see that, but don't rule out any of those others. There's Cuevas in there. He's playing very well at the moment. So that'll be a nasty second round match potentially for Novak Djokovic.
So moving down to the next little section, you've got the Berrettini section, or I'm sure most people will call it Roger Federer. And he has got a bit of a tough one. Let's be realistic. You've got Taylor Fritz there. He's a name what jumps out to me. Felix, he's a nervous player, but we know how well he can play. And he's a real talent. Obviously, Tony Nadal was the coach. He's not been doing very well recently. But regardless of that, he's just not someone, an out-of-form Roger Federer is going to really... I think he could struggle against someone like a Felix if he is to face him, of course. I think the biggest fear for him will be Marin Cilic originally, because if Federer is able to get through the qualifier, and I say if because he's not looked good, Roger, and the qualifiers have, say if that's a Taberner there, Taberner Roger first round.
Taberner,
it's worrying, isn't it?
That is worrying, mate. I don't know if I would like Roger to come up against Taberner. You saw him. He's qualified, only dropping about 3 or 4 games through 3 matches. It was almost reminiscent of the way Karatsev qualified for the Australian Open. So keep your eye out for Taberner, mate. He's really burning through the field. Oh, sorry, I'll leave that one out. Anyway, having a quick look down there. Coria, mate. Less said about this guy, the better from today's performance. Got bageled. Only won 1 game against Djokovic, didn't he? And then had his photo taken with him at the net. So bit of an embarrassment. Big one here. You don't want to ignore big Kev Anderson. That's not a nice person to have in your section. Obviously an unseeded big guy, big server.
That's true.
Horrible. But I think Berrettini.
I think really the standout is Berrettini. We've not spoke about him, but he's just been he's played so well already this year on the clay courts. I don't think there's many matches he's lost personally. And I think he's coming into this Roland Garros in the best form ever. We've never seen him going into a big a Grand Slam event, especially being Roland Garros on clay, in such good form. And personally, I'll be shocked if he's not the one who wins this little section, because I think he's really good enough and he's playing well as well. Unfortunately for Federer, you see a lot of people with their projected draws and routes, and Federer's always there to the end. But I think a lot of that is because of the seeding and the fact that he's highly seeded, 8th seed, of course, and highly ranked. And it is Roger Federer. Ultimately, you've got to be realistic. The way they're playing right now, you would not expect Roger to advance from this little section.
No, I mean, we're not going to be giving too much away, guys. Obviously, we will be doing a draw preview for this, where we'll be taking you through all of our selections going all the way through to the final. So make sure you join us for that. That'll be coming up in the next couple of days. So keep your eyes peeled. Hit the subscribe button if you're new. Hit the bell for the notifications.
And also join the Bracket League. I've just put it in the live chat there. Hit the link and you can join our league. And we will be giving prizes for the winners. It's completely free. And then we've got over 200 people in there already. So good luck. And if you think you know what's going to happen this year at the French Open, test your chances. Ben says he knows every year and he always loses. So give it a go.
Well, if we pick Rafa,
we get on to my favourite section now.
What, the Rafa section? Here we are playing Popyrin in the first round. The guy who beat Yannick Sinner, but he did play Rafa Nadal as well afterwards, and then lost fairly comfortably.
Mate, I need to talk about this one because it is a tough draw for Rafa. Rafa is going to have to win this the hard way this year at Roland Garros. There's no 2 ways about it. He's been in the past quite fortunate, I feel. I think he's had some good, nice draws. Yeah. This one's not a nice draw. I think it's tough. Obviously, he's going to have to play most likely Djokovic in a semi-final if he is to advance. For a start, that's tough in itself. But you look at some of the names here. I think one who's not even in the orange, which sort of stands out to me, is Ramos Vinolas. He's been playing well. No, not Lloyd Harris, but Ramos. Cam Norrie's been playing well, we know. Yeah. But then look at the ones who are in orange. Diego Schwartzman, how well's he been playing? Yannick Sinner, how well's he been playing? Lorenzo Sonego. This is a tough little section.
Sonego and Sinner.
Nadal's got it all to do here. Big time.
Mate, Sonego, not someone you want to come up against. Norrie, people are calling him the Nottingham Nadal.
Well, you've got RS there, Rafa versus the British Rafa, round 3. We could actually be seeing it. And unfortunately, the British Rafa, I'm not feeling too optimistic for him.
Nah, Lorenzo Sonego for me, he's been looking really good. I reckon he would fancy his chances to get to face Rafa. But Hugo Gaston, that's if he could face Rafa in the next round, so that would be an interesting matchup. But French home court advantage for whoever faces Rafa in the second round there. So Gasquet, not been too impressed. He lost quite emphatically, I think, today. So
I think I got a bit carried away. Apologies. Schwartzman's not in that little section. It only goes to Monfils, doesn't it?
Yeah, apologies. Yeah. I can't zoom in anymore.
No, that's all good, mate. That's my fault. I wasn't looking. But Schwartzman's not in that bit. But regardless, they're still really tough. I think Sonego, Sinner are the ones it's a bit of a tricky one. Yeah. And Monfils in France. Is he going to find some form? I don't know.
Mate, but look at even these smaller players. Millman's been having a good clay court season. Herbert, he's decent. French as well. Caballes Baena, clay quarter from Spain.
Yeah, but I think we've got to look past some of these for the fact that everyone's going to be class. We're in a Grand Slam here, Ben. This is like the creme de la creme.
It's the next levels. Well, let's move on down because I know that we're just going to run through this fairly rapidly. We have got Diego Schwartzman at the top of this little section, and Andrei Rublev is probably one of the standouts of. You can see the orange ones there.
I thought there was another Russian. There was another Russian for me. What stands out?
He's one of the standouts there, but he will be playing Janos Struff, and he doesnn't like playing Struff. Always 3 sets when they play in a 3-set match. I think that's a straightforward one for him. Struff might cause.
Well, this one won't be 3 sets unless it's straight sets. So this one potentially, you're saying, could go to 5. Well, Struff Rublev early doors 5-setter.
Yeah, mate. Karatsev, you don't know with these qualifiers. I've seen some real hot prospects in those qualifications. So that's not a given, even if you are playing a qualifier.
And I'm going to make a big statement. I think some of the qualifiers are that good, and they're coming from the Challenger Tour. They've been playing so well. I would be more worried about playing some challengers than say, let's name some names there. A Manarino, a Lou, a Kohlschreiber, a Verdasco, the whole bunch of them. You'd prefer any of them rather than a qualifier, let's be honest, because some of them coming through are scary. Are we going to do a podcast about them? We've got some of the Americans I love, Brooksby and Frattangallo. They're playing very well. Ben's not a big fan of them, but I think they're dangerous. And you've got some of the clay quarters, the ones we know more. Obviously, the Zapata Morales, he's going to be deadly. Gallon Riveros, and of course, Carlos Taberna as well. Midfield maestro bringing him up. Jensen Brooksby, that's it. And Alcaraz as well. You can't forget it. So the qualifiers are so good.
Yes, mate. There's some amazing qualifiers. And don't forget, the Cerundolo brothers are still in there too. So it's just a who's who, the qualification.
Personally, the qualifiers are my most exciting players in the whole draw.
Yeah, mate. I can't wait to see who they're pitted against. Yep. I just hope that Karatsev doesn't get one of the Cerundolos or one of these other players that we really want to do well. But I can see it happening, and we're going to end up with an amazing watch-along on our hands. But so be it, mate. Andrei Rublev, though, would you say you'd think he'd get past Struff, get through the next round, and then could be up against potentially Aslan Karatsev?
Saying all of that, I'm just going to give you a quick take. My favourite to advance from here is not Rublev, it's Karatsev. I think Karatsev's going to advance. I think he's already got Schwartzman's number.
Yeah.
I think he's going to do something special here and shock a lot of people and get to the quarters.
Bashvili?
Karatsev for me. Yes, he's my take.
Well, mate, the Bitcoin of tennis, as we know, it keeps rising. Let's hope he rises all the way to the top in this tournament. Should we move over to the other side? Have a quick look.
Bit of Rafa's bicep there.
Should we go start from the bottom this time? We can have a look at Medvedev.
Let's start from the bottom.
Second seed. So playing Bublik, mate. First off. Oh, not an easy one for Medi.
So this one goes from Medvedev to, is it Dimitrov? Yeah, to Dimitrov. So this is another really tough one. The one what stands out to me here is Christian Garin. He's playing so well in the UTS recently. He's someone who's won in the juniors here before. I don't know if you know that, a few years ago. So he's got good experience at Roland Garros. Yep. He's only getting better and better on the clay. This is his surface. If he's going to win any Grand Slam, it's going to be this one. Let's be realistic. If he's going to go deep in any Grand Slam, it's going to be this one. And I think this is a really good opportunity for him, considering he's got Daniil Medvedev.
Yeah.
And Dimitrov is not playing very well either. Riley Opelka is a bit hot and cold if he serves well. He doesn't have the same altitude as what he did prior. So I think he could be a threat. But really, Garin is the one who's going to advance from this little section for me.
You'd think so. He is the predominant clay court player. We saw how well he played in the UTS. He was even taking that super seriously. So this guy is focused and really loves the clay courts. Even Jaume Munar in there, a great Spanish player.
Yeah.
Fancy him to probably take out Thompson. He could have a small little run there, but Garin, the standout.
Mate, Munar, looking at the little bottom section, he could take that, to be fair. Munar.
Yeah, I think so. I think, like you said, though, Garin is the standout clay courter in that section, and I'd be surprised if he didn't qualify through that little group. Yeah. Medvedev is going to try and prove everyone wrong. Is it the year of the shock from the Octopus?
Well, that's what I want to ask everyone in the chat. Is Medvedev going to win a match this year at Roland Garros? He's going to have to beat...
Well, he's going to have to beat Bublik.
Bublik, of course. Sorry, I lost my mind.
Then Chris O'Connell, one of the podcast favourites.
Yep. No, but all he needs to do is beat Bublik to then say he's won at Roland Garros. I say, Bublik's pretty good, so I think he's not. We've got everyone in the chat saying Tom Lazar going, nah. Vance, no. JG, still no. And Jamie, no as well. So that's that, I think.
So nobody is having any of that, mate, by the sounds of it. So we move up to the next section. As you can see here, we've got Pablo Carreño Busta. He's going to be probably another person people are going to have their eyes on, especially in this little section.
I don't know.
You'd fancy him.
Someone at the top.
Yeah, you'd fancy him to probably get through to face Tsitsipas, though, in this little section.
I agree. I kind of agree. I think it's quite a tasty section. Yeah. He should not be slipping up against any of them players. Raonic on clay doesn't really inspire me too much. Montero's not in great form. So, I think that's a fair thing. It's more exciting at the top because this is a lot tougher. You've got a qualifier who we don't know who it could be, and it could be someone ridiculously good. Pedro Martinez, the clay courter, who's played so well recently.
Against Korda as well. Really good.
Korda, Shardy, Krajinovic. Tough. This is a tough little segment. Yeah. Segment within the segment.
It really is, mate. The Gomb, mate. But you never know. The Gombos could turn up, mate. Who knows? He's capable. But for me,
I think Tsitsipas, the way he's been performing,
mate,
if he still can't do it, regardless of what we said, then that's when we need to start questioning him. And I think I would go quite hard on him, considering how well he's played. Yeah, it is a nice draw on the whole grand scheme.
I fancy him over all of those players he's got in his section there. Moving up, Dominic Thiem. I'm not sure I'd be so sure on Dominic Thiem, though. As you can see here, this is where the section ends at, I believe it's Casper Ruud there. Yeah. So that's where it would end. Dominic Thiem up to Casper Ruud. And in Ruud's section, that's not going to be too nice for him. Obviously, you've got a couple of other big names in there. Fuchskovic, another good clay court player. Del Bonis. Anderhaar's just beaten Federer and beaten Stricker, the up-and-coming Swiss player.
I honestly think the best indication of whether you've got a tough draw is look at the names which are in white. Because there's the ones in orange are the more seeded players, so it makes sense. You'd expect them to be good. The ones in white, if they're low ranked and they're really threatening and dangerous on clay courts, that's when you need to worry. And you look at some of the white players here. You've got Arthur Kazoo, who's dangerous. You've got Davidovich Fokina, who's on clay so good. You've got Martin Fuchsovic and Del Bonis. I think it's a tough one. And Pablo Anderhaar, just throw him in. He's just beating Federer on clay.
I know, mate. This is a Benoit pair. I don't know. I'm not gonna say too much about him. I think Casper Ruud breezes past him. Kukushkin's still quite fairly decent, but maybe more on hard court. Mate, it's not a nice section for Dominic Thiem. And if you're in an informed Dominic Thiem, you probably think, I'll tidy that up. But right now, all of those, I look at them, all of them could potentially beat him. He lost to Cam Norrie recently, so I think anybody was going to scare him, and he needs to get off to a good start against Anderhaar. If he beats him convincingly, you could see a good Dominic Thiem performance, and he might start growing as the tournament goes on. And need it if he's going to face Casper Ruud potentially in the quarter-final, I believe that would be, wouldn't it?
I'm with RS. I hope Casper can advance, but it's going to be tough. Moving on to the next section.
Yes, indeed. Let's move up. So
I just want to say, guys, I know we are flying through this, but we will be doing a more extensive look at the draw when we do our draw prediction bracket later on, I think tomorrow evening. So go check out that. And this, for me, is the qualifier section. There's a lot of qualifiers here, and they're all stacked at the top with Alex Zverev. Zverev is going to have to beat a qualifier and then beat another one. And I don't fancy his chances. I don't know. I'm going to make a big call right now. I'm not sure if Zverev's going to get out the qualifier, the little circle. I'm expecting. The reason being, I think we're going to see some really tough qualifiers up there. And if we are to see that, you watching my bracket, mate, I think he's going to struggle to get out of them.
I'm not so sure about that, mate. I think that's a big. I mean, I love the qualifiers, but come on, this is
Jensen Brooksby, mate.
This is a guy who is just won the Masters in Madrid. This is a guy who he's ATP Finals champion before. I mean, this guy, he can do it on all surfaces, and he's number 6 seed.
He can also not do it on all surfaces as well. We saw what happened to him against Vasca the other week. And let's be realistic. Alex Zverev is a world beater when he's on, but when he's not, he can lose to anyone. And these qualifiers who are going into this match with a lot of form and playing well, I think he could get a bit unstuck, and it could be a big shock.
Could be, mate.
And that's what I'm calling.
If he's the double fault Zverev turns up, then it could be that. It could be. But you would expect him to be the favourite in this little section. Batista Agut, second favourite. But it depends on these qualifiers, mate. For us, we probably might not say that. If we wait and see who's in there with them.
There's so many qualifiers here, and that's what I'm saying. I think this could be the little bracket of the qualifier. A shock bursting onto the scene. We saw what happened with Karatsev in the Australian Open. He made a name for himself, and then he's become what he is today. Is this a chance for one of these qualifiers to make a name for themselves and beat an Agut, beat an Khachanov, or beat a Zverev and advance from this little section? I honestly believe it is.
Yeah, Nishikori as well, and then another big name. Batista Agut, if you're able to take him out in the first round.
We've got handprint saying Dan Evans, back the UK lad. You not spoke about him? We
haven't yet. He is there highlighted in orange. He's not got an easy first round match either against Miomir Kekmanovic. That's not a nice one. I would rather be pitting him against somebody not so clay court orientated. He's quite a decent one. I still fancy his chances though, Evans. I think he can get past Kekmanovic. And then after that, he'd probably, I don't know, then you've got Gère or Moutet. They're not easy matches either, though.
This is a very difficult one to talk about because we don't know who the qualifiers are. And as much as I say I want to see a qualifier advance, if they're all the bad ones who I don't really like too much, then it's probably not going to happen. But let's just wait and see for this. But I think that's going to conclude this quick draw reaction. We brought it to you live. We gave out raw thoughts. The big story, of course, is that Rafa, Federer and Djokovic are all on the same side of the draw. I think that's mental in itself, but it gives a really good opportunity to a next-gen player or anyone really to make a name for themselves and get to the final of a Grand Slam.
It does. It's all opened up. And as you can see, all those qualifiers are all stacked in one side of the draw. We could be seeing another amazing run from a qualifier like we had with Karatsev at the beginning of the year. Yeah. I hope so. I'm looking forward to it, mate. But join us for the actual draw preview. We'll take you all the way to the final, and you can join in too. Make sure you join the bracket league. The link's in the description. It's in the live chat. And I believe, not sure which day we'll be doing it. Probably I'd say on Saturday, would you say? Because we want to wait for the qualifiers to complete.
I think maybe tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. But we'll have to see. If the qualifiers aren't finished, we'll do it Saturday. But just stay tuned on the channel. Make sure you like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more information like this. And we'll see you guys very soon.
See you guys.